Welcome into Southern Sports Now on a Friday, our first full week. Glad you are along with us. I'm Chase Robinson, your host for the next hour, as we're going to dive in all things sports, from high school to college to the pros, everything we're going to discuss here over the next 60 minutes. We've got an in-studio guest we'll get to coming up in just a few minutes as well. But we invite you to like and share right now, whether you're watching on the East Alabama Now YouTube channel or the East Alabama Now Facebook page. We are live streaming on both of those platforms, and you can like, share, comment there, and we'll be checking in with those throughout the show today. And so join us, share with your friends there on Facebook, and let's spread the word about Southern Sports Now because we've got a lot to dive into today. You can follow us on Twitter at EAN_sports, and we'll pass things along to you there on Twitter as well. But let's dive into our headlines for this Friday morning. Up first, Oxford softball. They stay alive in the state softball tournament. They play this morning against Athens. That game is happening at the Oxford Lake softball complex because of some weather last night. That game was moved to Oxford Lake this morning. Lots of weather they've been battling in the state softball and baseball tournaments, and so they've been having to move games around. But Oxford softball up this morning as they are still alive in the elimination bracket. It's a situation when you keep going, lose, you go home. It would be several games they would have to win today to get to that state championship in Class 6A, which is scheduled for 4 p.m. this afternoon on the Signature Field there at Choccolocco Park. Headline number 2, high school football news. Gary Atchley is leaving the Weaver Bearcats. He's been the head football coach since the 2021 season, head softball coach for the last 10 seasons, and he will be joining the staff at Jacksonville High School. He'll be joining Clint Smith's staff for football. He'll have other coaching duties as well with the Golden Eagles, but Weaver now looking for a new head football coach, as we'll discuss this more later on. Jacksonville also made another hire for their volleyball program. Amber Russell has been an assistant under David Clark, who's had a lot of success leading Jacksonville's volleyball program. When you think of volleyball in Calhoun County, Jacksonville's definitely up there at the top of the list. Amber Russell will be taking over. David Clark will remain on staff as the athletic director for Jacksonville. But longtime assistant Amber Russell, about 16 years overall, she's been an assistant under David Clark. She will take over the program. In professional sports, Denver beats the Lakers in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals last night. We'll dive into more of the NBA playoffs in just a little bit. But Denver now has a 2-0 lead over the Lakers there in the conference finals for the West. And our final headline, PGA Championship going on, Oak Hills up in Rochester, New York, as they've been battling weather over the last couple of days. They had a frost delay yesterday, but Bryson DeChambeau is leading at 4 under as they get going this morning there in New York. PGA Championship will continue on through the weekend. And again, we want to remind you to like, share, comment on Facebook and YouTube. We'll get to those as we move through the show. But we have got a special guest that will be joining us on this Friday. We'll get to that on the other side. Southern Sports Now continues in a moment.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news, new faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
Ted's Floors and Beyond brings you this segment of Southern Sports Now. Ted's Floors and Beyond, that's where you can get all types of flooring, whether it's hardwood, laminate, carpet, tile, and luxury vinyl. But here's something cool. This is the Beyond part. They've teamed up with Welborn Cabinets to now offer you a complete kitchen or bath makeover. What does that include? That includes cabinets, countertops, flooring, backsplashes, and tile showers. They offer 0% interest financing for 12 months and free in-home estimates, lifetime warranty on flooring installations. They are locally owned and operated. You go into their store there on Highway 431 in Anniston. They will greet you, and they will help you find what you need and get it for a great price. Ted's Floors and Beyond there on Highway 431 in Anniston. Go by and see them. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment of Southern Sports Now. We have a special guest joining us in studio today to hang out with us on the couch, on the hot seat. We welcome Michael Shortt, longtime high school football coach, Cleveland County, and now with High School Football Alabama after the game this past season with John Holder. So, Coach Shortt, welcome to the hot seat here on Southern Sports Now.
Well, it's a nice chair here. It's red, and I'm just glad I didn't wear red today. I started to. But, more than proud to be here, and appreciate you asking me to come on today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a lot going on in the sports world that we're going to talk about over the next hour or so. And so we'll dive into it. Talk a subject you know a lot about in high school football. We read a headline there at the top of the show. The Weaver job now open. Gary Atchley, who has spent a long time as an assistant under Darrell Hamby, most recently has been the head coach, has departed Weaver, going to Jacksonville. So, you know, he's a Weaver guy. You can relate to that. You spent time at Cleveland County. You were a Cleveland County guy, the head coach. So I know it's probably a hard transition for Gary Atchley, but you now got a job in Weaver, a Calhoun County school system job open.
Yeah, it is, and Gary's done a good job, an extremely good job while he was at Weaver. I don't know if most people know, but his wife worked in the school system at Jacksonville. 2 of his younger children are in the Jacksonville school system, and I think his daughter just graduated or is graduating. So that kind of frees it up for him to maybe go to Jacksonville and start a new chapter in his life. So I think it's an exciting time for him. A game for Jacksonville is a loss for Weaver, especially this late in the season. So, they'll rebound. There'll be some very young coach or maybe an experienced guy out of Georgia maybe that wants to retire that may jump in there and take that job.
Yeah, and Weaver, of course, is in a A region that is, one I think a coach could come in and win, win some games and maybe, get in the playoffs. I think Weaver is in a spot where they have a chance to be a playoff team like they were in those years under Darrell Hamby.
Well, the most unique thing about whoever takes the Weaver job right now is they're coming into a very strong region, but it is a region that has had a very large coaching turnover.
Yeah.
With Steve Smith leaving Piedmont, going to Westbrook, Coach Miller leaving Sachs and going to Piedmont. So now you've taken, a lot of those jobs and you've changed new coaches. So that has to be, I'm not going to say it's an advantage, but it makes it a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of coaching changes, there's been 83. Adding this Weaver job, we mentioned the Asheville job came open the other day. 83 coaching changes in the state of Alabama. That's a high number for this offseason, right?
Yeah, it's one of the highest that I've seen in a long time, and I keep up with it every year, just trying to see how many more guys are left when I started. I don't think you're going to see those guys anymore, not many, that coach 20 and 30 years at one place. It's just not happened. Society has changed. What can you do for me yesterday type atmosphere or attitude. But, yeah, there's been a ton of jobs. I spoke about it the other day to some guys. It's up to 83. And like I said, that's 2 jobs right here very close, that's made a change. And a lot of them have been filled. And now it's not even over because now that you've opened up 2 this late, there may be a head coach that leaves another school. So that school comes open. So those are things you have to really look at when you start talking about coaches changing.
Yeah, and there's been some that they've gone to one place and gone to another within a span of weeks and months. I've never seen jobs that are filled and become vacant in just a matter of really weeks.
Yeah, and one was days. I mean, literally. Coach Seymour, Brian was at Demopolis, had done a great job there. I think he saw an opportunity to go to Greenville, building a brand new stadium right out there by the interstate. If you ever go down below Montgomery, you go right by the school. Now they're adding a stadium out there to it. He was there about 2 or 3 days, and he went back to Demopolis, but they had already made a change and went to Luke Tucker, who's the son of Walden Tucker, who was at Fayette County for all those years. So he didn't have a job, and guess what? Now he's at Trinity. So he ended up at Trinity. I tell you what's a little scary right now is Montgomery Academy still does not have a head coach yet. So that tells me that maybe it may be somebody on staff.
Yeah.
Coming in, or they already know another guy that's done retired somewhere, and he's looking for a job, and they're going to bring him in. So some of those jobs are really interested because they're high-profile jobs.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the most notable coaching changes, jobs that have been filled here in the offseason for across the state of Alabama?
First you got to start off Steve Smith leaving Piedmont.
Yeah.
And going to Westbrook Christian. I almost said Westminster. Westbrook Christian. That was a big change. Knew it was coming. It's going to be great for Steve. Now he can retire and draw 2 checks. That was a big change. Real quickly, Pell City. Steve Mass came in last year from St. Paul's. Now he's gone back to Mobile area to Theodore. And then they hired Coach Probst, who was at Coosa for a couple of weeks. And then now he's at Pell City. That's probably your 2 biggest hires around here. And then you can't Sylacauga, which is close. Rob Carter, a guy that had won a state championship at Beauregard. He leaves and ends up at Clark County, where Stacy Luker was at, and now Chris Smelly, I think, that was from Tuscaloosa at American Christian.
Yes.
I got it right. American Christian. I almost said there's 2 of them. And he comes over. So those are some of to me, the higher profile jobs.
Yeah.
And then, you got White Plains. You got an assistant coming out of Ohatchee, like Jennings, going to do football and baseball. So it'd be interesting to see how some of these coaches do in their new jobs that they have.
Yeah, when it comes to Pell City, Rush Probst, if you keep up with high school football at all, Coach Probst and the time he spent at Hoover and and the time he spent over in Georgia. He's back in Alabama. You mentioned he was originally hired at Coosa Christian. Pell City job came open. Pell City's one of those jobs. They're in a very tough region in 6A. But again, I think you get the right guy in there, that's a very winnable program.
Well, they're going to spend a whole lot of money, not just on him, but and the plans were all ready to spend some money. I think they're turfing the football field as we speak. They've already done the baseball and softball field. They hired a new athletic director who is actually the secondary coach at UAB. I think Coach Clark had a lot to do with that, of getting Coach Probst there. They're going to spend a lot of money. I mean, we're talking about in the amount of money like they spent down here at Oxford. I mean, they're going to spend a lot of money on coaches, on their facilities, and that's really what's, in today's society, you got to be out there and have the best you can have. College football is filtering down into high school football as far as, I don't say the transfer portal, but in money, but as far as having nice things, kids want to see that.
Yeah, and you were in high school football for a long time coaching, and this is, I know, a totally different era now than even a few years ago when you were coaching, because you see guys now who are transferring, high schools, families packing up and moving across the state for their kid to play at another high school.
Should pack up and move across the state. That's the question there, whether it happened or not. But yeah, it does, and I understand the parents have the right to move their kids wherever they think is best for them, and I'm okay with that as far as they move. Yeah. And as far as they uproot, take the whole family and move, and if that happens, then so be it. Good luck. But sometimes that's not happening. Yeah. And we all know that, and the state knows that. It's just you got to prove it.
Yeah. I'm curious for your perspective on this. School's almost out. There's some teams that are actually today having spring football games, whether it's playing other teams or just kind of inter-squad scrimmages. Spring football, though, has kind of become something of the past maybe. And I'm curious your thoughts on this, because it used to be every team had spring practice, played a spring game. Now you're not seeing that as much since the state's opened up the opportunity to get that extra week of practice in the fall. What's your thoughts on that? Is spring something that teams need, or is it kind of based on what you have this year, the experience coming back? What's your thoughts on spring football going away, staying, all that, as a former high school football coach?
I think the first thing as a high school coach you have to measure, or you have to look at, is how good is your baseball going to be, how deep can they make a run in the playoffs, and how good is your track, and how good can they be. If they're going to constantly every year your baseball is going to be in that third and fourth round, you're not even going to get those guys in spring anyway. And then track's the same way. So you got to look at those things. The other things you got to look at is the state allows you to now, any kid that's not playing another sport, 2 hours a week you can go out and practice. So some of these guys, not in pads, but you can go out and do installation. And these schools are coming in now, and starting in January, they're taking all the kids that's not playing another sport, and they start coming out and they start doing stuff on the field. 1 hour on a Tuesday, to say, and another hour on Thursday, offense one day, defense the other day, or just come in and do 2 hours at a time. Yeah. And you're seeing that. And when you can do that, and let's say your baseball's been done, some of these guys have been going out and practicing twice a week for an hour a day for a month. So they're getting all those extra days in. And now the state allows you in the summer to pretty much do 7-on-7, and you're basically having practice all summer now.
Yeah.
And that used to not be. So when you can do that and then start a week early, there's no excuse to not be good in your kicking game and things like that, because you can do it all summer. Now, some guys, if you're in an area where 5 or 6 guys do spring, you're just about going to have to do it too, because you're worried about getting behind.
Yeah.
But that extra week, you can gain a lot of that in the summer. By having been able to work out. So I don't know whether that extra week is going to be that great or not. Some people like it, some people don't. So I think it's just the personal preference of each coach, because you can do so much in the summer. But my warning to these guys is make sure these guys get a chance to rest too.
Yeah.
That's what Steve Smith always did at Piedmont. He let his kids get a chance to rest. They didn't have spring because everybody was playing all other sports, but he allowed those kids that's not, when they come back, give them a chance to have a break, because they've played 2 and 3 sports all year long.
Yeah. Good point there. Coach Michael Shortt joining us today here on Southern Sports Now. We mentioned at the top, Jacksonville has a new leader of their volleyball program. I had a chance to talk with her yesterday, and so I wanted to share some of that interview with you. Amber Russell, longtime assistant under Coach David Clark, who resigned back in February. She's actually been kind of the interim head coach and leading the ladies through some spring practice drills. But she kind of talked to me yesterday about the transition and how it could be easier transition of her from a assistant coach to head coach for the players. Let's listen to that.
Growing up around this, I know the program. I know the way that he did everything. He taught me how to coach. So basically, I'm just stepping in, and I've got the same fundamental skills sets that he has, the same program ideas that he had. So it's going to be a very easy transition, I hope. A lot of the kids I have coached, there's about 3 or 4 that I only had 1 year, and some of them I didn't have at all. They completely skipped over me from junior high straight to varsity last year. We had graduated a lot prior to last year, and so they completely skipped me. And so some of them, that'll be new for me, but being around them as an assistant coach, I kind of got the feel of how they work.
Another thing is the team. They've got a lot of experience coming back for Coach Russell and the Jacksonville volleyball team. They're a team that's always in the county finals, is always making a run at regionals and sub-regionals and state. And that's going to be their goal once again with this team coming back, Coach Russell told me yesterday.
We were pretty young last year. But this year, this group, they've worked very, very hard. They're learning to play as a team, and we have some older kids coming back that'll be helping with that to mesh that younger group. They're finally learning how to play together. There's a lot of promise from that young group. We have a big 9th grade group and a big 10th grade group. So we're hoping that experience that they received last year under Coach Clark will help because they just got thrown into that varsity as a 9th grader, and that's a large undertaking as a 9th grader to be playing a bunch of 17 and 18-year-olds. So a lot of them just turned 14. So they're going to have a year experience with Coach Clark, plus they a lot of our kids play club ball and things like that. So they've been playing volleyball for a while. So it's going to be helped. They'll have a little bit more experience. We made it to regionals, which is a big feat in itself. If you can get to regionals and you can be there, you can see that environment. So we're hoping we can make it back to state.
We appreciate Coach Amber Russell for taking time with us yesterday, as she is now the head volleyball coach at a very successful program, taking over for a very successful coach in David Clark there with the Golden Eagles. Like I mentioned in the headlines, Coach Clark will stay on as the athletic director there at Jacksonville High School. We're going to jump to a break. Coach Shortt stays around with us, and we're going to talk some NBA playoffs on the other side. As we get ready for the NBA Finals, we'll do that. Stick around. Southern Sports Now on a Friday.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
EAN Sports is proud to bring you the best, most informative local sports content, and we want your help to be able to do that. If you have a story idea, a tip for our sportscast, or even a highlight clip you want to see on EAN Local Sports, send us an email, eansports23@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter @EAN_sports, or you can send it to the EAN News Facebook page. EAN Sports, bringing you the local sports happening in your community.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
If you see some interesting weather phenomenon in your backyard here in East Alabama, send that to us. We would love to hear from you. Send that to us at the email address you see on your screen or through Facebook at EAN News.
We continue Southern Sports Now. I'm Chase Robinson, and we got Coach Michael Shortt in studio with us today, hanging out, talking really all things sports. We've been talking a little high school football. Want to shift gears, though, because it is conference finals time in the NBA. You're getting ready for the NBA finals. And, Coach Shortt, I know you've been staying up for these late games. There's not much that will keep me up that late, but I know you've been staying up late watching these NBA conference final games.
Yeah, it tests us Eastern Conference people on the East Coast, the West Coast games. It's a little bit better now that we're down to 2 teams because you get a game a night.
Yeah.
But, boy, there for a while, those nights when I have to be at work sometimes, and I do work a little bit, on Tuesdays, those Monday night games, they don't start till 9. They're not over till 11 o'clock, and then you spend an hour listening to Chuck and all them trying to shoot each other, kill each other on set. So, yeah, I love watching NBA basketball. Watched it again last night. It's unbelievable. This time of the year, they start playing defense, so it's enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, and that's what kind of has not attracted me to that as much, just because I feel like during the season I don't see a basketball game should be 130 to 129, but defense is played somewhat in the finals. I'll give them that. The play-in game, I want to talk about that first because that's something that is relatively new and something I think it took people a while to kind of like and get adjusted to. But we were talking before we went on the air. It's the play-in game's kind of been validated now, especially after a season like we've seen.
Oh, without a doubt. It was probably the biggest decision the NBA's made in a decade, just starting it. And I know everybody said, why are we doing this? We have 8 seeds. Why don't we do that? Well, the play-in game when they first started was to stop people from tanking, to stop those teams. And what it did was it made the last month and a half of the season when it kind of gets old, you're tired of seeing 140 points scored. Teams are playing a lot harder. They're actually playing with their playoff lives were on the line, and they were. So I think that is what's really made Miami is what they had to go through adverse-wise, all the adversity they faced with the many injuries they had all year and still have them, to be able to come back and do that. I mean, and then Los Angeles, both of those teams come out of the play-in, and they both come through, and now they're in the conference final. So, yeah, that was validated just by that.
So we've got, of course, the Eastern Conference Finals. The Heat has a 1-0 lead over the Celtics. You got the Western Conference Finals. Denver, after last night, now has a 2-0 lead over the Lakers. It's going back to L.A. now, of course, LeBron and the Lakers. How can the Lakers, first of all, come back after this Denver lead that they've gone out in 2 games? And what's going to be the Lakers' best chance to do that?
Well, the Lakers got to win 4 out of 5. And can they do that? Yeah, it's all about holding home court, and Denver did their part. I think that Denver is more talented, more explosive as far as they're younger. And they've never been there. This would be, if they win, it'd be their first time ever in a championship game. And I think Denver only started in the 70s. So, Los Angeles, I know everybody's wanting to see Los Angeles and Boston. Los Angeles and Boston. Well, I'm tired of that. I want to see Denver get there because they're a very talented team. The thing about the Lakers is they're going to go as Anthony Davis goes. And I know people saying, what about LeBron? LeBron's there, but LeBron doesn't have to be the main man anymore. And as Anthony Davis goes, they go. But he's so inconsistent. This is probably what set the tail for this series. Is Anthony Davis scored 40 with 20 rebounds in the game 1, and they got beat. And then last night, here's his inconsistency. Played pretty good. They probably played as good a first half as you could play. But then the second half, when they need it, they're out there shooting threes. LeBron and Anthony Davis, and you're 7 foot tall and you're 6'9", take it to the basket and get fouled. But that didn't happen. So I think the 2 best teams talent-wise are the Nuggets, and in Boston. But that doesn't mean it's going to happen because I'm telling you, Jimmy Butler is a man right now for the Miami Heat.
Yeah. So what do you like about the Nuggets, and how do you think they can seal the deal in this Western Conference Finals?
The thing that's most important is Jamal Murray is healthy now. For 2 postseasons he had ACL tear, and he just really struggled. It was just a struggle to watch him play. And he's so talented. He's such a talented shooter. You got to play Jamal Murray like you would Steph Curry. You got to put people on him. Well, when you get that many people concerned about him, then there's a card down inside called Joker that you got to worry about, and he's the best passer in the league. I mean, he's got more no-look passes than Pete Maravich used to have. So it's just amazing to watch them play. I think they're the most talented. I think if they still won, it'll never come back to L.A. Because I just think they're that much more talented. They are. So being able to do those things. In NBA basketball is about streaky shooting because Jamal Murray scored 23 points last night in the fourth quarter. When he only had 13 before that. But when shooters keep shooting and all of a sudden they find one that goes in, then they get hot, and you can't stop it.
Yeah. So they go back to L.A. now. Will that help L.A. or the Lakers, you think, playing on their home court? Is that going to give them a better chance, you think?
Absolutely. It'll help them because what happens when you play on your home court is your role players play better. Role players, you wonder why. I mean, where do they go? Do they not show up to the ball game when they go to away? But it's so much more comfortable when you're playing at home and you're a role player. You're not used to playing out there on the court for long minutes. And so if those role players can come in and get you, 12 to 15 points, and 2 of them do that, that's the difference in a ball game. Yeah, I think it's still a series. If they can hold one, but if the Nuggets get one win, then it's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
So you got the Nuggets and the Lakers over on the West. In the Eastern Conference Finals, Celtics and Heat. Heat won Game 1. They'll have Game 2 coming up tonight. What do you like about this series?
Well, the thing is, Miami's going to be driven by Jimmy Butler, the toughest man in basketball. But the best team, talent-wise, on paper, is Boston. There's no doubt about that. And they're kind of led by Jason Tatum. He scored 50-something points, but then last night or the night before last, he didn't really score as much. Wasn't able to score. But what you do is what I like to watch is the adjustments that are made between Game 1 and Game 2. And what they do. And then after that happens, then the rest of the series just kind of goes, it kind of just flows along. So each coach is trying to figure out, what team's been there. The Miami Heat probably has a lot of experience on their team. That's probably the best series we're going to see is the Heat and the Celtics because the Celtics were there last year.
Yeah.
And the Heat's been there before. Ex-Bolster's been in the league is 12 years? I mean, as far as with Miami, and they've been in the playoffs so many times. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go. But as Jason Tatum plays well, then normally the Boston Celtics play well. But it was very surprising. But you know what? They've lost more games on their home court this year than they've won in the playoffs. So that's not nothing to them. They lost to Philadelphia. James Harden had a 50-point night. So, the Boston's going to still be there. But it is kind of interesting to watch them how they lose so much at home because normally you don't do that. So that means they're doing what? They're playing well on the road.
Yeah. Interesting stuff there. That really should be a fun series there in the Eastern Conference Finals. We talked coaching changes in high school football. We're seeing a lot of coaching changes in the NBA as well, even from teams that, I'll get a notification on my phone and see a coaching change, and I thought, well, they were pretty good this year. What's the deal? Like I think we're seeing more changes in the NBA as well.
It's an alarming trend, and what's alarming about it is just like for Philadelphia, just here recently. Ali, what's their coach? I'm having a brain cramp now. That just got fired.
Yeah,
I mean he's a Hall of Famer.
Doc Rivers.
Yes, Doc Rivers. He was a Hall of Famer. Won games with Boston, but him and Harden don't get along. And when the stars don't like you, you don't keep your job.
Yeah.
And that's alarming because the Milwaukee Bucks, the Phoenix Suns, these are all teams that are in the second round or better in the playoffs, and these guys are getting fired. So that's an alarming trend that these guys are getting fired because a superstar doesn't like them. I don't like that trend, but that's the trend we're heading to.
Yeah.
Is those guys of, what did you do for me yesterday? And yes, they're making money, but they're making $3 and $4 and $5 million. And so but if they're winning and are winning consistently, to them it's just championship or bust. That's what you're seeing in the NBA now, because they do fork out a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, like we were talking about in high school football, it's really all across the board in coaching now. That and I'm sure we'll be seeing it in college football and college sports as well eventually. That if your guys don't like you, well, you're not gonna have a job.
Exactly right. I mean, if they don't like you, they're just, and because of social media.
Yeah.
And they can put it out there, and people are seeing more. They know every problem going on. Before, you never knew somebody had a problem. But now when you find out they have a problem, boys, everybody knows. I mean, before it even happened.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to see. That's another hour of talking right there, of talking about transfer portal and money and what it's doing to high school sports and what it's doing for college sports. You're seeing a whole lot of coaches get out of college and go into pros just because they have to recruit not just the new players, but recruit their own team. But then when you get to pros, if they don't like you get fired. So it's a tough job.
Yeah.
Have a lot of confidence and a lot of admiration for college coaches and pro coaches.
For sure. And I do want to kind of go down that trail in just a second. I want to talk some college football. We'll talk about some quarterbacks, but I want to dive into some coaching as well on the college side. So we'll take a break. We'll do that on the other side. You are watching Southern Sports Now on the East Alabama Now Facebook page, East Alabama Now YouTube channel, wherever it is. We're glad you're watching, and we'll be back with more Southern Sports Now in a moment.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welber Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brodney Sneed from both CARES and Direct Primary Care. Direct Primary Care is an exciting new model of medical care growing on both the East and West Coast. It's been recommended by Forbes and the American Academy of Family Physicians and others for individuals or small businesses with or without health insurance. The pure simplicity of a membership model streamlines the burden of medical care. It eliminates 60% of the overhead. That streamlining allows providers time to focus on patients with free, no copay, no deductible, unhurried office visits or telehealth visits with minimal waiting room time. It produces same or next day appointments and access by text or telephone during and after hours. It saves you from leaving work, wasting time and getting exposed in a waiting room. And the convenience and cost with barriers removed helps one avoid letting problems like a sore throat turn into an expensive ER or hospital visit for pneumonia. If you're interested, search the web for CARES Direct Primary Care.
Southern Sports Now continues on this Friday. I'm Chase Robinson here. Glad you are along with us. Got Coach Michael Shortt in studio with us today. We're talking all things sports, and I want to talk some college football now. And both Alabama and Auburn, we see new coordinators. Auburn, of course, with Hugh Freeze as new head coach, but both teams new coordinators, Coach. Both teams now new quarterbacks that have come in post-spring. Got the former Notre Dame quarterback at Alabama. You got a guy coming in from Michigan State at Auburn. So when you look at quarterback rooms overall, of course, TJ Finley transferred out of Auburn, so he not counted in this now, but who do you think has the better quarterback room, Alabama or Auburn?
That's a great question when you brought that up. I actually think they're about as even as they've ever been in a while. I think that. you've got Robbie Ashford at Auburn that's got some experience playing some last year.
Yeah.
There's not one – now, he got experience playing at Auburn, yes, with a different staff, so he has to learn. And then you got Alabama's, group of guys that had a little bit of experience in mop-up games, very little. Yeah. You got Milroe had to come in when we had some injuries. And then you got the kid that's coming in from Notre Dame, Buckner, is that right?
Yeah, Tyler Buckner.
Yeah, he was a starter, got hurt, didn't play anymore, and then came back in a bowl game, had a big bowl game under, the offensive coordinator now. So they've got some experience together. I still think it's probably neck and neck as far as room. They're all talented. They're talented guys. It's just whether can you take that talent that you have and make it carry over into college sports. Yeah. Some guys have a lot of talent sometimes, but when the game gets so much faster, they melt. Yeah. They just can't do it. There's a lot of 4- and 5-star guys on Alabama's roster. Whether they're ever going to make it or not, I don't know. Everybody's already saying that the Buckner kid that transferred from Notre Dame is going to be the starter, and the kid that comes from Michigan State is going to be the starter at Auburn. Hold on, I don't believe that. Yeah. I don't. They may have an upper hand, but like at Alabama, the kids knows the offense a little bit more. But look, y'all need to understand, this is not Tommy Rees's offense. It's Nick Saban's offense. He has to learn it. Yeah. And he can add to it. He can always tweak it. But it's Nick Saban's offense, and don't get that wrong. It is not Tommy Rees's offense. He's there to run Nick Saban's offense and to put tweaks and the changes and personnel and stuff like that. I believe it's a toss-up at both schools on who our quarterback will be.
Yeah. When you look at Auburn, because you've got an offensive guy in Hugh Freeze as your head coach, you got Philip Montgomery as an offensive coordinator who did a great job at Tulsa with their quarterback, Davis Brin, of building him up into a really good quarterback. Is that going to kind of give Auburn a leg up in a position that honestly has struggled the last few years, quarterbacks at Auburn, even with Brian Harsin, a former quarterback, as a head coach? Do you see Freeze and Montgomery being able to get this quarterback room maybe a step above Alabama because of their offensive minds?
It could happen. It could. But it always going to be is who has done a better job in the portal. It's hard for me, I even said that. Who has done a better job in the portal on the offensive line? Because both of them have got 5-star guys. Alabama probably has more 5-star offensive linemen and some young ones, and they've picked up some good ones in the transfer portal and picked up some new ones. But it's hard to play a true freshman and be a great offensive lineman. If you see an offensive lineman as a true freshman starting in Alabama, he's not going to be there long. He's going to pro football. Auburn's done a good job in the transfer portal up front because you got to have people to protect these guys or they're going to be running around for their life all the time. Yeah, it could. But as the season goes along, it's going to be interesting to see early in the season how these quarterbacks play in big games. Like, Alabama, who's going to start against Texas? That's going to be important because that's going to be a big game. Even though the starting time is not going to be at 11 o'clock in the morning again, and we're not all going to die, of a heat stroke, it'd be interesting to see who does start. So, yeah, I think that maybe you're right. You hit on something there that early in the season, Auburn may have a little upper hand in the quarterback room. But believe me, Alabama's not going to be a quarterback-first team anymore.
Yeah.
They've been doing that here lately. They're going to be more reliant on the run and going back to maybe more 50-50 because they've not been 50-50 in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's been more 70-30 because of the quarterback play and the receivers that they had. They just may go about it because everybody's, almost gloom and doom on Bama.
Yeah.
But they may go about it a different way. And that's where your coaches come in.
Yeah.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Yeah, you're right. That's a very good point. So I asked this question. I put it out on a poll question yesterday on our show. You brought up the Alabama-Texas kickoff time, so I'm going to ask you. My question was, what's your favorite time window on a Saturday to watch college football? Morning, afternoon, night, or really any time? What would be your favorite time to watch a college football game on a Saturday?
If I'm going to be there, then it's 2:30 because I can remember going when Alabama and Auburn played in the first overtime game. I was there, and we was going to wait a little bit and say, hey, let's get out, let everybody clear out a little bit, and we'll pick up about 400 cups and take them home. And it's still 1 o'clock before I got back to my car.
Yeah,
it was a 4-hour wait just to get to my car. If that had been a 2:30 kickoff, Well, it really was. It may have been a little bit better. It depends on who they're playing. I'm probably a 2:30 guy if I'm going to, watch it on TV because, Fox shows some games. You can pick up that game at 11 o'clock, some big games. Because I normally don't watch SEC games at 11. I watch the other teams in the country and then try to pick up, an SEC team around that 2:30. I would say probably the 2:30 one.
Yeah.
If you're going to play LSU, let's play at night because it's just enjoyable. And can you imagine being an LSU at night?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's like a bucket list for me to go to.
It is me too.
To go down there and watch a game at night. But yeah, I would say 2:30. That's my favorite time window as well.
Yes.
2:30 game. I like night games as well, some, but I like that 2:30 afternoon, like you said, especially going to the game.
Well, another thing that's important is who you're playing. As far as if you're playing Texas A&M, man, let's don't play in the afternoon. Let's play at night.
Yeah.
And at certain times of the year. You're in Texas, you're in A&M, my goodness, it's so hot. Florida's the same way. Playing in the swamp, if you've never been in the swamp, I've been there. It is so humid early in the season. If you're playing a 2:30 game, you better be in shape, and you better be able to play about 85 players because it is very hot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point as well. Staying on college football, we talked about coaching in high school and the NBA, and we're seeing something now in college that maybe not as many guys moving around, but some going from college to the pros. Their jobs getting tougher, having to not only recruit high school players, but try to keep their own guys from transferring out and going somewhere else because of playing time or whatever. The coaching on all levels is getting hard, but especially in college now that the transfer portal and NIL are as strong as they are.
Well, coaching is at a unique time. It's a time that me and you've never seen, me especially. It's way different. Still talk to a lot of college coaches. I've talked to some that are struggling with the amount of time that they're having to spend, not only in recruiting. Recruiting is tough as it is, but now it's a new level of recruiting because they spend a third of their time that they would be spent on trying to talk a 17-year-old kid to come play for them. Now they're having to talk to 17-year-old kids to come play for them, but they're having to talk to their 20-year-old sophomore or junior on the team to stay in with them. And sometimes it's not that the player dislikes you or dislikes the amount of time they're getting to play. It's that they're offered more money to go play for somebody else. I mean, commercials now. If you really spend time and look at the NIL and the amount of money being spent on these kids, I mean, some of your top gymnasts, some of your top girls basketball players are making millions at their college level. Yeah. That's way more than they'll ever make in the WNBA.
Yeah.
And for some of these guys, to me, what's scary is they're giving up being developed at a great place for money that's short-term money. Because you're going to make $2 million to go play or to play at a certain school. They're going to pay you a lot of money to come play, but you're not getting developed. Hey, coach, I'm making $2 million here. I said, yeah, if you get developed here, you'll make $30 million playing pro football in the long term.
Yeah.
Some kids can't see that.
Do you see that hurting some players that may have a chance to play professionally, that because they get caught up in that may not be, as good as developed? Do you think that's going to be a trend?
Yeah, it already is happening. Some of these guys that could develop into being first round, second round guys are now going in a fourth or fifth round. They said, "Look, I made $2 million." I said, "Yeah, you made $2 million, but you got to pay taxes." They don't understand that kind of stuff. It's not like somebody wrote you a check for $2 million and said, "Here, it's yours." So that's hurting some guys on the development side, and I know it's driving some college coaches. If anything ever drives Coach Saban out, it'll be this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Losing players and trying to develop players and turn them into professionals. Because, most guys say if you're not going to go in the first round, why get out?
Yeah.
Stay and develop. And now all of a sudden next year you went from a second and third round guy making, let's just say, $10 million. And I know you're thinking, man, that's a lot of money. But not if you come back the next year and you can be guaranteed $25 million.
Yeah. So what about these coaches that are, have been in college football, and a lot of coaches want to eventually jump up to the pros and coach in the pros. But, I think a lot of times now these college coaches find it easier maybe to go coach professionally. They'll have more time maybe with their family because they're not having to spend as much time on the recruiting trail.
if you can get over the ego side of it, and your ego will allow you to go up to where guys are making $30 and $40 million more than you are, then you can make it. But these guys are getting out because they get more off time. They don't have to recruit. Yes, they're watching film, but they get to spend time with their families. And these college coaches, especially your younger ones, are not getting any time with their family at all. So, that's why you're seeing so many guys get out of it, either get out of it, period, or they're moving up to professional football to give themselves more time at home to see their own families.
Yeah. So that we definitely have seen more, I think, coaches make that jump up from college to the pros, especially coordinators, and get an opportunity to go to the pros. Again, we could sit here and talk about this for hours, but we do have to take a break. We'll come back. Final segment coming up. We'll give you some things to watch coming up this weekend. Stick around. Southern Sports Now.
We're excited to announce that starting this April, we'll be entering into the cabinet business. With that in mind, we're going to change our name to Ted's Floors and Beyond. The Beyond encompasses everything that we do in addition to all of your flooring needs.
We've partnered with Welberg Cabinet Company, who makes the highest quality cabinets in the industry.
So when you're ready for a complete kitchen or bathroom remodel, shop Ted's.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today.
East Alabama Now Local News has been bringing you the best local news coverage for 6 months. And now we're growing.
EAN News will be available to you 5 nights a week with new faces, new content, and coverage that is second to none.
We'll be bringing you the weather that matters to your neighborhood and to you. Rain or shine, you'll be in the know.
Sports always brings communities together, and EAN Sports will have coverage of all of our area events.
East Alabama Now, local news. New faces, same great coverage. Starting 5 days a week, May 1st. EAN Local News, your news on your schedule.
We roll on this Friday of Southern Sports Now. I'm Chase Robinson, Coach Michael Shortt joining us in studio today. We've had a lot of great conversation. If you've missed any of it, it's going to be archived. You can go back and watch on the East Alabama Now Facebook page, East Alabama Now YouTube. If you're just joining us, you can go back and watch as soon as the show is over. And so we do invite you to do that and catch up on what you missed. Maybe you missed another show this week. You can go back and watch that one as well. Remember to follow us on Twitter as well at EAN_sports. We got some things to watch this weekend, Coach. We'll let you know about a few things. The Mariners at the Braves, that series begins today, and we'll go through the weekend. The Braves, tough weekend last week in Toronto. They went to Texas, got 2 of 3 from the Rangers. Now they're back at home with the Mariners. You going to watch any baseball this weekend?
I will. I'm just sitting there hoping, are the Braves going to get healthy before the season's over? If they get healthy, they'll have a chance, a very good opportunity, because the offense is no problem.
Yeah,
it's not, and they got to have a better weekend than they had last weekend.
Yes.
Last weekend was rough.
Yeah,
it was a bad weekend. But yeah, it's actually a great sports weekend.
It is. It really is. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the Braves seeing what they can do, what the pitching matchups look like there for the Braves. Something else to watch this weekend. We've been talking about it, the Heat and the Celtics. Mm-hmm. That is tonight and Sunday. Nuggets at Lakers tomorrow night. So that's 3 straight days you can stay up and watch some NBA basketball.
I will. I'll watch every bit of it.
Also, the PGA Championship goes now through Sunday. Do you watch or play any golf?
I used to play a lot, but after all the surgeries I had, I don't. But this may be the PGA because where they've moved it, they moved it to and where it's at and the time of the season that it's in. This may be the first time that you see it a frost on one morning, and on Sunday it's 90 degrees.
Yeah.
It very well could in the state of New York. It's amazing. It's some great golf. And see, I like watching your majors because I'm not one of these that says you have to be PGA or LIV. I don't care. It's just you got your best golfers there, and that's all I care about, seeing your best golfers.
Right.
Under some tough conditions. Frosty one morning. Today they're saying the winds are 38 to 40. You find out how good they are, and that's what this kind of golf's supposed to be. Your majors is about playing golf under any condition.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't imagine playing with 30-mile-an-hour winds playing golf. That would not go well for me. Birmingham Stallions at the Michigan Panthers on Fox Saturday at 3 o'clock. Some USFL, of course, the reigning champions and the Stallions playing the Panthers, and Skip Holtz and the Stallions once again having another good year. That should be a good one tomorrow up in Detroit.
It should be. And I like the league because, get used to it because every year the teams are going to be different because these guys are playing in this league for one reason, to try to get back in the NFL, and that's what their coaches and their staffs are there for.
Yeah.
We get to talk to Coach Holtz a lot, and he talks about, I don't want any of these guys back next year. I wish they all could make it back to the NFL, and that's what the league is about. And I think these guys get out there and probably give you – they're always giving effort in pro sports, but man, they're going a little bit extra because they're trying to impress some NFL scout to be able to get back there.
Yeah. Do you think spring football is going to, we've seen these leagues come and die, and the XFL finished last weekend. USFL will finish this summer for the season. Do you see spring football continuing to be successful? Are people buying into this?
I think they're starting to buy into the USFL side for sure. I know the XFL is a lot of glitz and glamour and show, and I have watched it, and there's some good players there. But I think the USFL, because the NFL's got behind it, and they're really working toward trying to get those players another chance to get back in the NFL. I think once people watch it, they go, "Wow! This is better than I thought it was." I think it's here to stay.
Yeah. And Skip Holtz, you were talking about him a second ago. He's done a great job with the Stallions, a guy that's been around a lot of football, a lot of different levels, and led them to a championship last year and is doing great with them this year.
We talk to him once a week on another show I'm on, and he's at peace with himself or where he's at. He likes where he's at right now. He's getting paid money, and he won a championship, and that was big. Championships are championships, no matter what level you play at, whether it's youth league or high school or college or pro. A championship means everything came together and it all worked out.
Yeah, good point. Coach Michael Shortt, appreciate you coming in, hanging out with us today. We'll have to do this more often.
Hey, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I enjoy y'all's show and everything you do here for not just high school sports, but all sports. There's always a place for it, and I really enjoy it.
Well, appreciate you coming in today. That is all the time we have for you today. Remember, you can like, share, comment on Facebook, East Alabama Now, YouTube, East Alabama Now. Join us on the EAN Local News tonight. And we will talk to you again on Monday, 10 a.m. for more Southern Sports Now. Have a great weekend.